Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Michael. That was beautiful. Oh, it's great to be here. I feel like I haven't been here for a long time. Well, the last time I was here by Skype, whatever it was, because of the fog. That's right. That's right. So it's good to be back with you. Beyond the Rainbow. That sounds like a good place, doesn't it? Do you think it's not here? There's some part of you that hopes that it's not here? There's some place that will way off out somewhere, way beyond there, where none of the stuff that we're dealing with exists. Is that what Beyond the Rainbow feels like? Yeah? And is there a pot of gold in your Beyond the Rainbow?
Of course.
What else do you have there? Unicorns? What else? What? What else? Tell me some other things beyond the rainbow.
Capricorns.
Capricorns? Well, there could be Capricorns there, yes?
No pain.
No pain. Yeah.
Peace.
Peace. Yeah. Tolerance. We all like each other.
No judgment.
No judgment.
Unconditional love.
Unconditional love. Yeah. Hmm?
Happiness.
Happiness.
Joy.
Joy. Michael's music is probably over there, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what if I was to suggest to you that Beyond the Rainbow wasn't so far off? You think that's possible? Like you don't have to be taken up in a whirlwind in the house and the house goes around like that and it comes down on top of the Wicked Witch of the West. And now we're in Oz. We were just talking about the Wizard of Oz. I'm sure by now you're all aware that that's one of the more metaphysical teachings that we ever had growing up. Do you know that? Did you ever understand, did you know that that was true about the Wizard of Oz? Do you understand that the message of the Wizard of Oz is the same thing as unity message ever was? That whatever all we're looking for, we always already had. It was just the awareness of that, the acceptance of that. You already had the brain, you already had the heart, you already had the courage. You didn't have to go anywhere to find it. It's the most powerful message, isn't it? And it was in the Wizard of Oz all along. Isn't that comforting to know? Several years ago, this was, 1978, way back then. I had the honor of getting to be one of the facilitators in a workshop back in Ohio where I lived. These high school juniors from all across the state came to Otterbein College, which was just north of Columbus, and they came for a week, and they were there to share and do what in those days was called encounter groups. Remember those? Well, some of you would remember those. And we would have a theme, and they'd be there for this whole week, and the theme when I was there was the Wizard of Oz. And so each one of us had a group, an encounter group, to work with the kids for that week. And we each had a name, and my team's name was Toto's Rainbow Riders. And it was such a wonderful thing for these kids to begin to see what the message really was in the story. And then at the end of the week, they showed the movie, which in those days was a big deal because we didn't have it live streaming in our homes, right? And so it was a big thing. But the whole becoming aware of that wonderful place that we call Oz does not have to be so far away if we're willing to open up to it. Again, it's all about perception. And one of the things that makes it tough for us to consider that Oz, or the area beyond the rainbow, is not so far away, what makes that tough is because we get caught up in the drama of what's going on right now here with everything. And what causes some of that is we get caught in the middle of the back and forth between what they want, what you want, what this person over here wants. Do you know what I'm talking about? We get caught in the drama, in the dance of, well, she wants this and he wants that, and I don't know, and where should I do, and what's the right thing to do, and I'm not sure, and what are we going to do about it? And when we have that in little microcosms in our own lives, we might also have it collectively in our world. Have you noticed that maybe a little bit? That a lot of folks are thinking in a lot of different ways and not agreeing and making who doesn't agree with them wrong. Have you noticed that maybe just a little bit? I might be minimizing that a tad, yes. And so it's easy to go, that's over there, that's not me. But because we're all one, we have to look at that and say that's got something to do with me, right? Because there isn't an us and them. We're all one. So what is it showing you? What, when you look out there, without going into specifics, when you look at what's going on out there, what do you think the message is for you? Anybody?
Peace.
Peace? But what, that's what's called for? That's what we need? Yeah. Morris?
I agree with peace.
Peace?
Peace as
Yeah.
well.
Joe?
Go within.
Go within. Yeah. Because that's where we're going to find the peace. We're not going to find it out there. Does that mean that there can't be peace out there? No, it doesn't mean that. But what it does say is that where to find it is in here, and then we can take it out there. We can extend it out there. And part of the problem is we're looking out there for all of this. And we've come into an age now, we've been in it for a while, that it's all about connecting out there and weighing in, and everybody's got an opinion, right? And everybody's got to give their 2 cents about everything. And it's all out there. Doesn't have anything to do with in here. And how's that working? Not so well. Not so well. And so it can feel like, looking at all the noise and the discordance that's going on, that beyond the rainbow looks more and more attractive. It's like, how do I get out of here? Where's the path? Where's that yellow brick road that leads me to that place? And what we would suggest to you is, given what our wisdom has been, what our teachers have told us, what our hearts say if we're really listening is that the kingdom of God is within. Beyond the rainbow is within. And the reason sometimes that can feel elusive is because we're getting stuck in the back and forth in our lives. I'm not sure, what should I do? Should I do this or should I do that? They want me to do this. They want me to do that. I don't know. And there's that kind of stuff. And then there's the stuff like, and so the IRS wants this. And my checkbook needs that. Right? There's these pulls, this energetic pull in a lot of different directions that we feel that tends to keep us away from that inner place that's connected to the all that is. And that's an ongoing thing, isn't it? It's an ongoing dance. And as a conscious being, it's our task to keep bringing ourselves back in, to not be pulled out there all the time. And sometimes that's really hard because it's the people we love that are pulling us, right? We want to be there. We want to help. We want to be there for them. We want to do what it is that's needed. We want to be a good person. We want to look good. But how is it then in that process? It seems like there's an either or, doesn't it? But just like in the daily word today, it talks about that if we start here, if we start inside, it's easier. Because when we're in the inside, the how-to is there. We'll get it. We'll understand it. A long time ago, 29 years ago now, when my mother was in the process of making her transition, she had ovarian cancer and she was in the process of dying. And she was in Ohio, and I had been going back and forth to Ohio like it was next door from here. And at that time, I was working at Harborview in the Department of Orthopedics in a research project that was funded by Johnson & Johnson. And it was a project where we were following all the fractures that came in the door, every single fracture that came into Harborview for a year. And we were doing this in concert with the University of South Florida and Vanderbilt University and also Johns Hopkins University. And it was a time when I was supposed to go as the representative from each one of those schools, was to go and make a presentation after the first year of doing this project with the results of the stats of following all the fractures that came in the door for a year. And it was time to go do that at Johns Hopkins University, and unfortunately, and not very convenient, my mother was in the process of making her transition. And so I had called them and told them, Johns Hopkins, sorry, I'm going to be delayed. My mother is on her deathbed. So we're going to you need my stats, and I can't bring them to you now because my mother is dying. So I got a call from the head. I'll never know how she ever found my mother's house's phone number, but because this was in the 1990, before cell phones and everything. And so she calls the house, wants to talk to me. So I go to the phone, and she says, this is Dr. I don't remember her name now, and she says, we'd like to know when you're going to be here in Baltimore for this presentation. And I said, well, as I told you, I don't know. My mother's very close to dying, and it's going to take. Well, we're all waiting. We've got a meeting. We've got to get this done. And I said, I hear that, but my mother is dying. Hello, is this thing on? Well, how long do you think we're going to need to wait? And I said, I can't really say. She's very close. Her fingernails are turning black. Does that tell you anything? I mean, and so it was like this, and this, of course, was my job, too. I suppose if she got really mad and she could go to UW and say, your person isn't cooperating, I suppose she could have done that. And I asked her, I said, Doctor, is your mother still with you? She goes, yeah, she is. And I said, may I ask you where you'd want to be at this time? She said, okay, just give me a call when you're ready to go. I said, okay, thank you. And then the next thing that happened was flowers were sent to the house from Johns Hopkins. So she apparently had thought better of her action. But the reason I bring that up is we get caught in these places that it's not just small stuff. Sometimes it's really big stuff. Like, where am I supposed to be in this moment? How can I show up as the most responsible in this moment, given what the circumstances? My mother's dying, and I'm also supposed to be at Johns Hopkins making a presentation. I mean, those are big things. They may be still like this, but it's a big deal. How do we resolve things like that? And what I'm suggesting to you is if we start the day, every single day, from in here, those choices get easier. In fact, everything gets easier. If you've got challenges going on in your life, whether it has to do with money, relationships, health, whatever it is, if you start the day from the beginning inside, it's going to be easier. You will notice that in unity, we don't stand up here and give you rules and regulations or give you lists of what you're supposed to do in order to heal the environment, in order to heal your relationship with your partner or your children. We don't stand up here and tell you how you're supposed to do this or that. Do you know why? Because what our job is to keep pointing you inside to your connection to Source. Because what we know is that when you're coming from your connection to Source, you're going to have the answers to how to heal the environment, to how to heal your relationship, to how to heal your checkbook, to how to heal our country, our world. It's inherent there. I was looking at some wisdom from the spiritual teacher Adi Ashanti. You know who that is? Have you heard of him? He said he's talking about awareness, and he says, awareness itself is not a female or a male awareness. It doesn't belong to me, and it doesn't belong to you. It's not a right awareness or a wrong awareness. Awareness itself, consciousness itself, lies beyond and before all the issues of the stuff that's going on. Should I do this or should I do that? Should I be here? Should I be there? Should I wear this or should I wear that? It's beyond and before all of that. All of that. Can you feel that? Questions or comments about that? Are you with me? It's beyond and before. So in the moment where you're trying to decide, Joanne, it's not that easy. I got this and there's this, and how about I've got this consideration and it's not that easy. I hear that. So what I love to do is to put my little arms around you and give you a big kiss on the cheek and tell you, go inside. Because that's where your answer is. Now, there's amazing teachers and books and workshops and all kinds of stuff, and it's all great. But the real truth for you is inside of you. And for many of us, that's not good news, is it? Oh, please. Joanna, any place but there. Surely there's somewhere else to go, right? Oh, no, don't tell me that again. Joanna, you're always saying that. Can't you come up with something else? No. And you know why? Because that's the truth of us. And why is it so hard? Do you have a sense of that? Why is it so hard to just do that? To just be that? Why is that hard? Anybody?
We don't like what's in there.
We don't like what's in there. We don't like, that's an interesting one, isn't it? We don't like what's in there. Or we're afraid we're not going to like what's in there. What if there's nothing in there?
The ego doesn't want to go there.
The ego.
Edging God out. Yeah.
Edging God out. Good old ego. Why? Because it doesn't have control. And it'll do anything to avoid not having control. And if something presents itself that causes the ego not to have control, what does the ego do? It makes it wrong.
Has a tantrum.
It can easily have a tantrum.
The ego has a tantrum.
The ego does have, absolutely, Marilyn. It has a tantrum. It makes it wrong. Don't go there. Don't go there. Don't go there. the ego doesn't have control there. And it doesn't want you to go anywhere. It doesn't have files on that. It doesn't know that it doesn't have control or thinks it has control. And that vast place of connection with the all that is, with oneness, with allness, with beingness, the ego has no control. And so it says, no, don't go there, you got other stuff to do, right? Or you sit down to meditate and pretty soon you're thinking about, oh, I gotta go to Walmart. I meant to go to the grocery store this morning. Oh my God, it's gonna get hot. Ah, boy. Did I water the garden? There's gotta be stuff to do. Oh yeah, that Joanna, when is she's coming back in 2 weeks already? Oh no. And so you see what I mean? You're sitting there trying to meditate and you know the stuff's, I'm not telling you anything. You've got your own version of that, don't you? We all do. That's the ego going, don't go there. Do you get that? And so what do? What can you do?
Shut up.
Shut, you can say shut, whatever it takes. And shut up is, that may be the thing. Or take the little ego by the hand and sit it over here in the corner and give it something to play with. Whatever it takes. Breathe. Keep coming back to center. Keep coming back to center. Keep coming back to center until you don't have to tell yourself that. Until you're centered. Because, my dear, once you're in center, you know it. You know it. And you feel it. And everything changes. And if you let yourself be there, the new possibilities, the new considerations, something you hadn't thought about before, a new way to look at something begins to show up. And if it doesn't in that same moment, it will later on, because you've made that connection. You're now with that, we've talked about this before, with the divine that stands at the top of the mountain that sees everything, that sees all the options, all the possibilities, and you're connected to that. You have that. Do you know that? You do. And you don't have to qualify. You came in qualified. It's just a matter of being there. Being. You don't have to go down the yellow brick road. You don't have to go off somewhere beyond the rainbow. Beyond the rainbow, you've got access to that place right here, right now. It's just making room for it. Allowing. That's the deal. Now, is that disappointing news? If it is, I recommend you start right away. And if you want to have the vision of a yellow brick road right in here, yay. If that works for you, if you're particularly attached to the yellow brick road, no problem. Use it. If there's something in that wonderful story that means something to you, something powerful to you, some of the imagery there, use it to go within. Because that's all they meant. That's all those wonderful, wonderful messengers meant. It's in here. You got it already. You don't have to go anywhere to find it. You don't have to capture the witch. What was it, her broomstick?
Yeah.
Whew, that's good news. Adyashanti says, to live from that place in here, self-grasping must be let go. Because the only things that keeps anybody from living from this place is holding on to thoughts, ideas, judgments, regrets. All those things that cause you to hold on to yourself. They literally create yourself. And as soon as they are let go of, that self is not there anymore. Because you're part of the capital S self. Living from that place, you start to choose to be simple, to give your attention to the simplicity, to what's awake in you, to what lies beyond all that struggling. Your inherent nature as awareness or consciousness itself is a very simple thing. Through this, it introduces you to the fundamental nature of yourself, the fundamental nature of reality. And you'll know when you get there, because you'll stop asking, have I gotten there yet? It's an exquisite place to get to. It's very liberating when you discover yourself as who you truly are. It's that place within you that is free, within and from all the other stuff. The exquisiteness is the sense of freedom, and that's what brings rest. That's what brings peace. And my friends, in this world we're living in, we need to get this now. We need to get this now. The ego's making a big mess out there. We need to get this now. And you and I, as conscious beings who understand what's needed, we ourselves need to make sure that we're starting and ending our days here. Even for just a couple of moments. Morning and night. And if you can do it in between, great. But at least give us morning and night. Because as you do, and as I do, and as we all do, we're all one. We're all lifted up. Questions or comments? Marilyn?
In NAM, there's no place like home. That's what this is.
Indeed.
Wow.
Marilyn's clicking her heels 3 times and saying, there's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. Thank you. And so let's just breathe. Let's just breathe together. If you want to click your heels, you go right ahead. If you notice that your shoes are starting to look a little ruby red, you'll know why. Let's just breathe and take this in. There isn't any place you have to go. There isn't anything else you have to buy or learn or do. Just be. And so breathing that in. And maybe in your hearts, hearing Marilyn say there's no place like home. I'm pretty sure she was the good witch. Pretty sure. Breathing. And letting yourself just float in or fall in or whatever's most comfortable for you. To let yourself be held, be embraced. Maybe there's a large hammock with your name on it. It's got some soft pillows that you just kind of float into. Whatever works for you. That's it. Breathing and allowing. Let yourself be held. Let yourself be home. Let yourself be. what's going on out there. Just as in Michael's song about the sunbeam. You are of God like the sunbeam is to the sun. You are of God like the wave is to the ocean. And it's happening all the time, continuously, no matter what's going on. Be that sunbeam. Be that wave. Be. And as we breathe, there may be someone who comes to mind who could really use this reminder, who could really use that hammock right now, being held by the divine, who could really use that sacred embrace. And we'd like to hold them with you in this space. So if you feel comfortable, say their names aloud right now. May they be held. They are held. May they feel it. May they be strengthened, healed, uplifted. And all those who couldn't be here today, all those who are out there enjoying that sunshine, all those in Bremerton, in Manette and Bremerton, all those in Washington, all those in the United States, all those on the entire planet, all those in the universe, all of us everywhere, the animals, the plants, the skies, the water, the planets, the stars. In this moment of now, as we accept the embrace of the divine, all life is lifted up. Oh, and for this reminder, we are grateful. Thank you, God. And so it is. And I invite you to take a deep breath and wiggle your toes. Feel yourself here in the room. And when you feel ready, open your eyes. And I'm inviting you to stay with us, and I know that's a lot on this beautiful, gorgeous afternoon, to be here, to talk about prosperity consciousness. Sounds kind of dry, but I promise you, we're going to make it totally painless. I promise. Blessings, everyone.